Hey, Herta here. Despite the patch only having one new limited unit, Guoba decided to slam down some insane news for newer players, and even people that want to take breaks once in a while. Stario will be letting you purchase old event Lycones from the Simulator Universe shop, so where you get your Fall of an E on Stellar C. I'm going to go through each cone real quick, and their best or potential users, and if they're worth the pickup. Like and sub if this video helped you out, share to anyone that might need this info, and let's begin. Now first off, Stellar Sea and Fall of a Neon are two must pickups for most players, and solitary healing is great in some scenarios too, specifically pure fiction, though there's still that to account for. Don't just rush in blindly because someone told you tutorial was OP. Having your DPS kitted out is important too. So these cones will cost 4 bonds each rather than the 8 for the 5-star cones, and their superimpositions will cost 1 each rather than 2. This makes the total cost of maxing out the 4-star cones 8 rather than a full 16, which is pretty awesome. So speaking of tutorial, what's so amazing about it? Well, first a 40% effect hit rate buff, and then when attacking death-reduced enemies, the wearer gains 8 energy, no turn limit at all. So if you ult into basic on a death-reduced enemy, that's 16 extra energy. And it is affected by the wearer's energy regeneration rate, so this can get kinda crazy. This is a debuffer light cone, not suited for a DPS nihility. Its 40% EHR will help out a ton for some of these higher EHR requirements, like Silver Wolf's 97% or Black Swan's 120%. And that energy effect is tremendous for these debuffers too, since none of them have non-attacking abilities and their ultimates are powerful. In fact, every nihility unit in the game attacks with their basic skill and ultimates. They are not like Harmony units. What this means is, provided the enemy has death reduction, you have a permanent extra 8 energy every attacking ability. Basics go to 28, skills to 38, and ultimates go from 5 energy to 13. And what ties it all together is most debuff-centric nihility units have death reduction built into their kits. Black Swan on her skill, Hela on her ult and technique, Silver Wolf on her ult and talent. And if using it on a unit without Death Thread, you can just either bring a second unit that has it, or you can use the Resolution Lycone on your other nihility debuffer, as that will also count. So how does this change rotations? The Wolf has infamously wanted this cone at E0 for her debuff uptime. Without it, she has to skill once or twice, and basic 2 to 3 times even with an energy rope, leading to her massive 45% death shred having downtime. With tutorial, she can 1 skill 2 basic with only a 5% energy planar and obtain a 3-turn ult. Flat energy is just so much stronger at this amount of the energy regeneration rate. You can also go for an energy rope instead and have a much more reliable 3-turn rotation, as the 5% energy planar one requires all 4 tutorial procs to go off. Even with E1, Silver Wolf has new tutorial rotations, like a possible 2-turn one or even a 1-turn one with external energy. Gets kinda crazy, but its true value is in E0 Silver Wolf. For Pella, it's more of a luxury, and for pure damage amp, you'd rather go for S5 Resolution. With no tutorial, you can hit a 3 basic rotation on Pella, which is fantastic, but since her death reduction is only 2 turns, it can fall off. Tutorial drops her down to 2 basics, which assures a permanent uptime on your reduction, provided the enemy isn't super outspeeding you. So for example, for more debuffs for Akron over a long fight, tutorial sounds pretty great. If you can maximize your damage and you're aiming for faster clears, you will not care about the enemy taking 2 turns, and you'll slam dunk everything into them as soon as possible, which is where Resolution shines, like Pearls of Sweat. And for example, in break teams like Buto with Pella, you'll have a ton of delay that her non-tutorial death shred uptime will actually be fine, because 2 turns can become much longer effectively when Buto has sent their action gauge back to the Middle Ages. For other users of this cone, I see Black Swan run it, Xiaocho with the death reduction ally, and sometimes Walt also with a death reduction ally when he's run with a more supportive build, but this is pretty rare and not too strong. Black Swan appreciates the effect hit rate due to her high needs, and the energy is decent to have. With tutorial and 2 skills and a basic, you are just a tiny bit off a 3-turn rotation. She can 1 skill 3 basic with tutorial if not. Xiaocho hits a 1 skill 2 basic rotation pretty easily, only needing a little external energy. Tutorial can let you guarantee it with no RNG, so it still has some benefit for him. Though Xiaocho has no death reduction in his kit, so this is in cases where you run a 2 nihility setup with Acheron. And in Pure Fiction, you have Solitary Healing as a much better energy generator. This is also the case for every other dot unit, including Black Swan. Solitary Healing is a better tutorial in Pure Fiction. Finally, World has some pretty quick ult rotations with tutorial, which can be fun to abuse, but if going for a DPS World, you'd naturally want to use a DPS Light Cone instead. So this cone is pretty essential for Silver Wolf E0 if you have no external energy, a nice quality of life pickup for Pella, and an optional for Jiaoshu and Black Swan. The next two cones are going to go much quicker because they're not as crazy as tutorial. Also, can we get more event cones, please? Anyways, Hey Over Here was introduced in 1.5 alongside Huohuo as a free-to-play option for her. Very simple, 12% max HP and a 2-turn 28% outgoing healing buff upon using your skill. Now do note that this healing buff appears mid-skill and therefore will not tick down at the end of your turn, so it will be up for effectively 3 healer actions. Max HP will further scale your healing if you are HP healer such as Natasha, Lynx, Bailu and Huohuo, whereas it won't be giving anything barring tankiness for Gallagher, Lingsha and Luocha. The outgoing healing buff benefits everyone, but not everyone uses skill. For example, Gallagher and Luocha prefer spamming out basics. So should you pick this up for anyone? For healing purposes, if you have post-op, I'd rather use that for the energy and similar healing benefit. And whilst it may not have this max HP buff, it has a high base HP anyway at 1058 versus 952. The energy leads to more ults, and therefore more utility or healing anyway. If you're a basic attack spammer, then multiplication is more valuable. If you have a high energy cost ally, then Quid Pro Quo is more valuable. This is a pure healing stat stick, and only 4-star healers really struggle with healing these days. Even then, do the more recent ones struggle? Gallagher for sure doesn't in most cases. So I would skip this, only get it for collection. The final cone is even easier to look at as it is a pure one-trick pony. Ultima's Journey offers attack percent and a 1-turn self-damage percent buff after ulting. The attack percent buff can be used by Tingyun, but Poggers is better, and the damage percent buff will fall off too quickly on any other unit that isn't Robin. For Robin, it's a decent light cone if you lack Poise to Bloom, or her signature, or Bronya's signature. It offers pure Robin damage but no energy, utility, or team damage amp. Her Sig does more damage, offers energy, and offers team damage amp. Bronya's signature gives energy too, and Poise to Bloom isn't too much stronger than this cone, but offers team damage amp over her personal damage. So let me know your thoughts on this change from Hoyoverse, and your thoughts on these light cones. And do you think we will be able to get Festering Desire in Genshin one day? Anyways, like and sub if this helped. Thanks to my amazing YouTube members, thanks for watching, and have a good day.